Good evening, witches and warlocks. Welcome to our very first Halloween special here on Cheese for Thought podcast. We couldn't be more excited to share these 3 cases in one story tonight. I will be covering Sister Tadea Benz, Drew will be covering William B.J. Leisky, and Maggie will be covering the Toolbox Killers. What do these 3 cases have in common, you may ask? Well, they all somehow involve Halloween. As always, please like and follow us on TikTok and Facebook at Cheese for Thought Podcast. And please email us any case suggestions to contact us at cheeseforthoughtpodcast.com. Grab some popcorn, bundle up, and get ready for the wild broomstick ride. This is Ariel.
This is Maggie.
And this is Drew.
And you are listening to Cheese for Thought Podcast. Happy Halloween! Okay, guys, this is Ariel, and tonight we'll be talking about Sister Tadea Benz. Sister Tadea Benz was a 76-year-old Catholic nun at St. Francis Convent. She was brutally strangled, raped, and murdered on Halloween night in 1981.
Jesus, fuck, that's a lot.
Yes, it is.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. The nuns who found her dead in her convent room thought she had died naturally. They only phoned the police because they later found a broken window.
So this happened in, it wasn't out, in the street or anything? It was...
Nope, it was at the actual convent.
Oh, jeez. That's even freakier.
And yeah, they had only called the cops because they later found a broken window. So they put 2 and 2 together and figured there must have been a break-in.
Oh, okay.
So Sister Angela Martinez is the one who found Sister Tadea's body in the early morning. She went into severe shock and didn't know what to do after finding her friend of many years' nude body on the floor.
I wouldn't know what to do either.
Yeah.
She had originally went searching for Tadea when she had missed chapel, which was definitely not like her. So she knew something had to have been wrong for her to have missed the service.
Right.
When she went to Tadea's room, she noticed the door was closed, which was also not like her. Sister Tadea was very hard of hearing and had always left her door open so she could hear the morning buzzer. So she automatically knew right off the bat this was not Tadea who had closed her door.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 other nuns had also testified that they had wrapped up Sister Tadea's body in a sheet, believing by that point that she had possibly fell and died by hitting her head.
So they just wrapped her in a sheet? Before anyone came, or...
Yep. They just wrapped her body because that was one of their practices and whatnot.
Oh, okay. I just think that was kind of weird to me.
And here's a crazy thing too. They cleaned up blood spots that they found near her body, thinking nothing of it. They thought maybe she hit her head, and
weirder.
They cleaned it up.
That's not
normal. Leaving it for the police.
Yeah,
no.
That's even weirder. This was in the 80s, you said?
Yeah, 1981.
Okay.
Yep.
This kind of, I don't know, suspicious.
And they thought nothing of it by cleaning up the...
Yeah, why? Don't you know not to touch a crime scene?
You would think so, but I don't know if at this time they were shut off and didn't really know what to do. So Sister Florentine said that she's the one that found the broken window later that day and realized the break-in must have happened. The police came to investigate the break-in. Now, she thought of mentioning Tadea to these police, but was hesitant about doing so. And this is a quote from her. In my head, I thought of it, but I took it for granted, as did the others, that she had died in a natural death or by a simple accident. And that was a quote from Sister Florentine. Officers overheard the commotion of Tadea's death and thought perhaps these 2 things were connected. So they began an investigation, which revealed that Sister Tadea had in fact been raped, beaten, strangled, and cut.
So they didn't see any of the marks on the neck. They didn't see any of the bruise. They just thought it was normal that someone's laying on the floor.
And that's the thing. They thought that maybe when she fell and broke her neck, they thought maybe that's where the bruising was.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But was there any injuries to the head?
They said that there was none. No.
Oh, I don't know.
I guess for them, the thing is too, they probably think the best of people and they think innocent thoughts that, oh, no one would have done this to someone.
Still, that's clean up blood and stuff.
I know. So, this is where we'll get into who Johnny Frank Garrett was. So, Johnny Frank Garrett, who was born on December 24th, 1963. He was accused of this crime. Why, you may ask? Johnny had been arrested several times for petty crimes his entire life. He lived across the street from the convent, and he was only 17 years old at the time of Sister Tadea's murder. He was arrested 10 days later after she had died. This was the equal age of majority for criminal responsibility, meaning that he would be charged as an adult.
Okay.
So Johnny claimed his innocence this entire time and never let it go till the end. He was tried and convicted of this crime, and he was held at the Ellis Unit, which at the time was housing men in Texas's death row. He was scheduled to be put to death on January 6, 1992, but, weirdly enough, Pope John Paul II asked for clemency, which means he tried to reduce the sentence or get more time for him to be on death row. The governor of Texas at the time, Ann Richards, gave him a temporary reprieve, meaning they postponed his death date. Now, while Johnny maintained his innocence, a witness did say that they saw Johnny leaving the convent on that night.
Ooh.
And then he later admitted that he was there, but not for what they thought.
This is not looking good at all for Johnny.
He said he was there, and he admitted to breaking that window. He was looking to steal.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yes, I broke the window to this lady's room, but I did not do anything else.
Well, the thing is, too, the window was not, the broken window was not to her room directly.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he was there. He admitted that he was there to rob and steal from the church.
I was just thinking, I'm here to steal that money.
And he's only 17 at this point, so, I mean, he's just a dumb kid.
Yeah, right.
So, the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles had a meeting on whether Johnny should get his sentence reduced to life in prison, or if he should just still get the death penalty. They were in favor of the death penalty still, 17-1 in the vote.
Holy shit, dude, that's like a sweep.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, fuck this kid. That sucks.
And the thing is, too, he was already in trouble from before. They held that against him.
And this is in Texas? Okay, yeah, they don't give a fuck down there.
So he was examined by Dr. Dorothy Ortlow Lewis, who had discovered that Johnny had multiple personalities as a result from the physical, mental, and sexual abuse that he received growing up from his mother, grandmother, and grandfather.
Jeez.
Poor kid.
It was also believed that he may have been abused by other family members as well. He was executed on February 11th, 1992 by lethal injection at the Huntsville unit. His final food request was a bowl of ice cream.
Ooh, what kind of ice cream?
Didn't say.
Oh, man.
That is an important question.
That is.
Sources said I actually looked that up too, so I was like, I had a feeling you were going to ask that. Sources said that he refused to make a last statement, but then in some other sources I found, it says that his last words were re-quoted recently to, "I'd really like to thank my family for loving me and taking care of me, and the rest of the world can kiss my ever-loving ass."
Jeez.
I don't think his family did take care of him.
Yeah,
though.
for real.
I know. So, this brings us to kind of presently, now 30 years later, after their brother was executed, his sisters are trying to get his name cleared.
Yeah.
He claimed his innocence till the very end. Gianna Weaver and Janet Dobbins say they are hoping to clear his name in their lifetime. Gianna quotes, "He's not a monster. That is the worst I have ever heard somebody call Johnny Garrett a monster." So that brings us back to around the time of Sister Tadea's murder. There was another woman who was also murdered the exact same way. Her name was Narnie Bryson. So Leoncio Perez Redua was convicted of that murder.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Due to the similarities, the sisters at the convent also believed he could have been to blame for Tadea's death too. Attorney Jeff Blackburn, who represented Johnny during his appeal, also believes that he was wrongfully executed. Quote, "I'm not saying that he didn't murder the nun, but what I'm saying is he definitely was not guilty of raping her, and I will always believe that. I think that now, if we were to able to use the science that we have with DNA, he would be exonerated."
I think you could, tell, too, who's, mentally capable of raping someone. You would think you could tell in their personality, yeah, I can see that person.
Yeah, maybe, but then I think there's some that slip under the radar.
Yeah,
and the thing is, too, with him, looking at his past crimes, he only did, petty theft. So it's pretty crazy to go from petty theft to raping someone.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
And killing someone. He was just doing petty theft. And he also had mental disabilities.
But then again, sometimes that's how people start.
Yeah.
So
it's a gateway crime.
I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. You could go either way.
Yeah.
And then, so this actually kind of thickens the plot here. Another source states that they found the knife that was used in the murder outside the convent. It matched a knife set that Johnny's home had. Ooh. However, they were not able to find any of his fingerprints specifically on the knife.
They just go there, it's just like the block, and it's like, that's the one that's empty. Like, what, you know?
Yeah, and it just said it matched, so that doesn't mean anything, really.
I've been looking for that knife for a long time. I don't know what happened to it.
And the fact that they couldn't find any fingerprints, and they also could not find any DNA evidence linking him to the crime. So they didn't find any of his DNA in her room, or any of her DNA at his house.
This dude kind of got just blamed because they had no other suspects.
Well, he was kind of an easy target, is what I got from this.
I don't think this kid did it. I really don't.
So now, to be exonerated from this rape and everything, the 47th District Attorney Randall Sims says there are steps that need to be taken. They would have to show that the substance to be tested is still capable of being tested, and that it hasn't been tampered with in any way since 1981.
Does DNA, like if it's in a lab, does it last that long?
It depends on how it's stored.
Okay.
If it's properly stored, yeah, they can keep stuff for a long time. I mean, look at the stuff from my boy in the box.
Oh, that's true.
He was killed, and they kept bringing up the body and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Stupid question, sorry.
No, not a stupid question at all. So yeah, I guess it also depends on the DNA. So like if they're testing like sperm and semen and stuff, I don't know how long that really lasts because it was in her body, which decays. So
I know if it's from IVF, I know if it's frozen it can be frozen for so long, right? They can freeze it for so long.
That makes sense, yeah.
I don't know.
I think when we got a pamphlet from all that, it said like how many weeks or months or something it could be frozen.
Well, they didn't freeze that though because they literally just fertilized our embryos with it.
Yeah, well,
right away.
The eggs are frozen, right? Aren't they?
Nope, they're embryos. So
sorry,
your
embryos. That's what I meant to say. The embryos.
And I don't know
frozen.
how long those last. I'm not sure. Probably a long time.
Well, yeah. Don't we have like a 5-year?
Yeah, but then we have to find somewhere else to freeze them.
Yeah, so they're good for at least 5 years.
After the 5 years, yeah.
You guys can use my freezer.
I think it's not cold enough.
Thank you. We'll take all our samples. Our best friend Ariel is going to store them.
Store them next to my Eggos.
Yeah.
Just don't eat it.
Oh, these are weird tasting Eggos. Why are they so small?
Oh, this is sick.
So anyways, they'd have to prove that the evidence wasn't tampered with in any way, which is pretty difficult to do, especially now that it's been almost 40 years. So they would also need more evidence to show that he's not guilty, as they didn't really collect much evidence back then because they were pretty sure that he had did it, not thinking anything of it.
That's fuck. Cause what did they just go into the trial? Like, yeah, we don't have much evidence, but he did it.
We're
he
pretty
did
sure.
It.
Yeah, I have a hunch that he did it.
Like, we don't have any evidence of him in the room.
But he really did it.
Or on the knife.
Right,
but
he really didn't do it.
You know, his mom dumped me in high school, so he fucking did it. Like, that's some shit makes me think of, like, how can you convict someone with no evidence?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing, too. It's like, I think times are a lot different. They're in a very different states and a different time than us, too. And
I suppose.
But, yeah, so when Blackburn was asked if he thought Johnny would ever be exonerated from this, he said, quote, "I doubt it. This is going to be one of those unsolved mysteries of the criminal justice system, although it really isn't that unsolved. Since they did reach a verdict, they, executed him."
There's a verdict, but don't agree with it.
Right, exactly. So Johnny's sisters said they will die trying to prove his innocence.
Fuck yeah.
Ruda, the man who is believed to have killed Tadea, remains in prison. He is serving 45 years currently for murdering Bryson. Johnny was an easy target to pin the crime on. He had a low IQ, he was arrested in the past for petty crimes, and he didn't really have a story that could be corroborated. But, like I mentioned, he had mentioned being to the convent on that exact night. 12 years later, however, they tested the DNA from Tadea, and it came back as a hit to Rudia.
Oh, the other dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The court's like, fuck, we fucked up.
And get this, Rudia had already admitted to killing a nun in the past.
Yeah, how the fuck are you gonna look past that? Like, well, he killed the nun that lives in the room next to the nun that got killed supposedly by the other guy, but nah, there's no way that it could be linked. Like, how the fuck do you mess that up?
I don't know.
And
you tell me.
So not only was Tadea murdered, Bryson was also murdered the exact same way, not that far apart. So he targeted both of these women not that far apart in time. And he was talking about stories to his cellmates about how he had murdered a nun in the past and was seeming to get away with it.
Oh, cool.
That's crazy.
That's just like...
How do you not link the two?
And he's basically saying he full-on admitted he did it.
Right.
And he was proud of it.
Don't be suspicious, but be suspicious.
And there was additional evidence that linked Tadea to the crime scene. Now, if this murder had happened today, there would be a completely different outcome. There's a good chance Johnny would still be alive. A simple DNA test would have cleared him of the rape and the murder.
Yeah.
So, this does leave all of us with a gut-wrenching feeling that it is hard to think that an innocent person would have been executed, but it has happened several times in the past, and it is still currently happening.
Oh yeah, they've had that in the past too, where like same thing, to execute them, and then they're like a couple years down the road, they look at DNA again.
Yeah, they
like,
get exonerated.
Oh yeah, he didn't do it. It's like, oh, great way for killing innocent people. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he's got a record in the past, but like petty theft doesn't deserve for death.
Right. And that's the thing too, is like, that's why a lot of people are on the fence with the death penalty and stuff, because of the fact that there is certain people that are.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Behind bars, wrong.
I feel like the death penalty should be like, okay,
it's a for sure,
it's
100% sure.
for sure that this guy did it.
Yeah. Especially people that are repeat offenders. If you let this person out, they come back, do the exact same thing. Yeah. It's like a cycle. It's like, okay. Yeah, clearly they're not changing.
It should be like a driver's license. You fuck up 3 times, or like a DUI. It's like you get so many DUIs, it's okay, you don't have a driver's license anymore. If you are in and out of prison 3 to 4 times for rape and like raping someone, you should get the death penalty. I'm sorry, I think the first time you rape someone, you should get the fucking death penalty. That's some fucked up shit. Mm-hmm. That's my thought. If it's a bit excessive, I don't really care. And pedophiles should like get the fucking death penalty right away. Leave them fucking kids alone, you sick fuck.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And there's obviously a lot of mixed emotions if Johnny only played a small role here, helped out in any way, or if he solely did this alone and committed everything he was accused of. The police are still looking into everything, to see if it was a wrongful death, and they say that we are likely not going to know anything anytime soon, obviously, because it'd be a big screw up on their part. They're not willing to really just be like, oh yeah, we screwed up, sorry.
Right.
I mean, this is going to be a huge lawsuit. Like, his family would get millions of dollars out of this, so they're going to obviously not admit to anything.
Yeah, they're not just going to run to the podium like, hey, by the way,
this actually reminds me a lot of Stephen Avery, with the case that he was in, the one that's from Manitowoc, the one that he was wrongfully accused of the rape, and he served 18 years in prison or whatever.
Twice. Yeah. He served prison time twice.
He's still in prison.
Yeah, he's still in prison.
But yeah, it's like that first one, he was proven to not have done it. Yeah, so it's like, it reminded me of this. I mean, thank God he didn't get the death penalty, but it makes me think of this guy that, and who knows, like, he died so young, they killed him when he was in his early 30s, which is our age. I mean, he didn't have a chance to have a life. He didn't have kids, nothing.
Right. No.
And who knows, if he would have lived, who he would have became.
That's true. After petty theft, I think you can turn your life around from petty theft.
Oh, yeah, especially he was 17.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows if he was doing it to fit in with his friends or to be cool, or who knows? I mean, and plus all teenagers, every teenager I know has stolen something from a store.
I have never stolen anything from a store.
I personally have never either, but I know everybody else I know has. Yeah. Either it's gum, candy, makeup.
I've done a lot of...
Did you
I cannot say the same.
Okay.
I have done a lot of fucking stupid shit in my life with groups of friends, but I can proudly say I've never sold anything from a store.
Okay.
Yeah.
I cannot say the same.
Lots of stories.
Shame.
Some incriminating evidence we have here.
Lots of stories if we ever do a side podcast. But yeah, I've never stolen anything, and I'm fucking proud of that.
I'm proud of you, both of you.
So I do have to say then, what do you guys think about this?
I think the dude's innocent, and obviously the guy that they did that's in jail now. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, his name's like Leoncio.
Yeah, Leoncio. I feel he definitely did it.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he's still in jail, but he only got 45 years for killing and raping that other woman.
45 years is a long time, but...
It is, but it's like they could tack on to her death.
Yeah, that's true.
Get him exonerated, which obviously it's not going to bring him back, but he won't go down.
Yeah.
Everybody thinking that he's a rapist.
Because 45 years, you can still get out of prison and live some of your life.
Well, especially if he was in his 20s, he'll be 60-something. Yeah. He still has plenty of life. But if they tacked her death on too, maybe he should get the death penalty.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm definitely a person, eye for an eye. He ruined not only the 2 people's lives that he killed, but he also ruined Johnny's life.
Yeah. Right. So you are for an eye on things. So if
Yeah, I mean, like I think like you, it also depends on the circumstance of the situation. Yeah. But yeah, if he's admitting that he did it and they found his DNA there, it's looking like he pretty much did it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
and
agree.
the fact that it's his fault that Johnny's dead.
Technically,
yeah,
well, I mean, it's the court system's fault.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but he could have said, "I did it." You know, he could have easily turned himself in.
Yeah, but obviously, if he's a rapist and a murderer, he doesn't really have morals. So
yeah,
right, exactly. True. So I definitely feel like he's also, I guess it's not fully on him, but a large portion of it is his fault, because if Sister Tadea never died, Johnny would have never been accused of it. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time because he was there, but...
I like how their one thing they had against him was, well, he had the same knife set at home. The missing knife. It's like,
was the knife missing? The one knife that you guys had?
It didn't say,
probably not.
It didn't have his fingerprints on it.
So you're saying the basic knife set from Kmart that probably 1,000 people have in the area. And
especially Texas is a big state.
And you're telling me just because he has the same knife set, like he's automatically guilty? Like, that's fucking stupid to me, I think.
I think so too. I think they just wanted to close the case and they pinned it on an easy target.
There's we don't have time for this right now.
That's exactly what happened.
And the fact that they knew he was there was an easy pin on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I feel like if you're admitting that you were there because you broke the window, you broke in, like, I'm pretty sure you'd be easy enough to be like, yeah, I did this too.
And the thing is too, like, I just keep going back to the same knife set thing that you were just talking about. It's like, if he had just killed someone, you really think he's going to have time to clean his fingerprints off the whole thing? Like, that just doesn't make sense. And he ditched it right outside the door.
And did they say they found any fingerprints on it, or just not his?
They didn't find his.
So what about the other fingerprints that were on it?
They didn't say. And
they didn't fingerprint the guy that was there too?
No, I think it's because they truly wanted it to be closed. I don't think they truly cared about the outcome. They just wanted to close it.
Yeah, it makes sense. But it's like, okay, it's not your fingerprints, but we have a dude over here that literally...
says he did it.
Said he did it, but we're not going to check his fingerprints to match and the fingerprints on a knife.
And then they tested the DNA, and it tested positive for Rudy.
Yeah, so like they could have cleared Johnny's name right before.
Why not just do this the first time?
That's what I know. That's what I mean. Why did they just test the fingerprints, the other fingerprints that were on it? Because they have obviously, if a dude in custody, you can try to match the fingerprints to it, but we're just going to not do that. Like,
it goes back to the same Stephen Avery thing. He was there for 18 years. It's like, why not test the other guy? It just doesn't make sense.
For forensic people and lawyers are supposed to be smart. Like, I mean, yeah, not everyone's like, I'm not bashing at everyone that's in that field, but it seems like you really drop the ball sometimes when you're not supposed to drop the ball. It's just like in baseball. You're supposed to catch the ball, and if you're not catching the ball, like, what are you there for? You know what I mean? It's just, it seems like this is basic.
Well, the thing is, too, it's like they're messing around with someone else's life.
Yeah.
Is what comes down to it.
I feel like the first day you go into, like, shadowing someone, they're like, all right, here's step 1, fingerprints. Here's step 2, don't drop the ball. Like,
I thought you were going to say, don't drop the soap.
Don't drop. I was like, okay. Don't drop the fingerprints. Don't drop the fingerprints.
Don't drop that dirk-a-dur.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
But, well, that's all I have for mine. I appreciate you guys giving me some feedback here. Drew, I'm going to pass the mic off to you then for case 2 of the night.
All right. Let me get my case ready.
Okay, so I guess I'm just going to sit here and talk with you guys.
Unprepared. No, I'm not.
Unprepared karaoke.
Woo! You ready?
Yeah.
All right, take it away, boss.
All right, so my case is on William B.J. Liskey. Homicide for the holiday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't like this.
So, it was Sunday, October 31st, 2010. No other day but Halloween. 16-year-old Devin Griffin was returning home from Sunday morning church services. He sang in the choir. He was, a choir boy. And also from spending the night at his biological father's house. Once home, Devin immediately went upstairs to his room to play video games, as any other 16-year-old would do on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. But after a few hours of playing video games, he had realized that the house was strangely quiet, for it being 1:30 in the afternoon. His mother, Susan... his mother, Susan Liskey, 46 of age, would normally be out of bed by then, doing stuff around the house, making breakfast, and getting things ready for the night due to it being Halloween. Plus, where and what were the rest of the family doing? His stepbrother, Willie E. Liskey... stepfather, my apologies. William E. Liskey was 53, or as known as Bill, and his stepbrother, Derek Griffey. He was 23.
Okay.
I'm following.
Yeah. So Devin put down his video game controller, went downstairs, and walked into his mother's and stepfather's master bedroom. When he walked into the room, he found both his mother and his stepfather still in bed. Now remember, this is like 1:30 in the afternoon. He realized that, okay...
Something wasn't right?
Yeah, something wasn't right. So they're still in bed. When he walked into the room, he found both his mother and his stepfather in bed, but with their red color comforter pulled up over their heads.
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Devin started talking to his mother to try to wake her, but there was still no response. So he walked around to her side of the bed and saw her foot out from underneath the covers. He tapped her leg. No response.
Oh, God.
Devin continued to talk to his mother, Susan, while pulling down the comforters a little, and that's when he saw her pillow soaked in blood.
Oh, jeez.
Could you imagine being him?
No.
Like, this whole time I'm just like, oh, no, I know this isn't good.
And maybe he knew ahead of time, too. He's like, this can't be real. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think that would even be running through my head. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, were they fucking with me or something? Like, were they,
Right.
they drink too much last night? Or I don't know.
Yeah, true, right. Or they slept it in.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Could be anything.
Yeah. For a moment, he thought, this must be a Halloween prank.
Okay.
As any 60-year-old would.
Right.
But slowly he realized it wasn't. Devin ran out of the house screaming and crying in horror while calling his aunt on the phone for help. His Aunt Lori would eventually be the one who called the cops. So, yeah. When the police arrived at the scene of the crime, they went right to the crime scene. Upon observation, it was revealed that William, his stepfather, had been shot in the head and face 5 times at a range of about 1 or 2 feet away.
Oh,
wow.
That's a lot.
So that's personal.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was lying in his natural sleeping position.
Okay, so he was shot in his sleep.
Yeah, you didn't even wake up.
Okay.
Susan, his mother, was sprawled out more awkwardly. It had shown that she had been sexually assaulted before she was shot in the head.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming.
Shot in the head 3 times at a very, very close range. She also had a bolt hole in her hand, most likely due from self-defense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should probably try to stop it.
Right.
Or push the guy away or something.
Yeah, maybe she got woken up and like...
Well, yeah, if you're laying next to your husband gets shot in the head 5 times.
Oh, and then if you wake up and someone's on top of you,
it's like
to,
you know your hand's not gonna.
I'm sure she tried
stop
grabbing the barrel.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that.
Like if the barrel is pointed straight at your head, you're gonna naturally grab it.
Or if he was trying to assault her, then she's probably trying to push him off. Like,
that too.
True,
That too.
All bullet wounds were caused by a .22 caliber gun. No shell casings were found at the scene. The killer took the time to pick them up one by one to cover his tracks, and there was no sign of forced entry or a robbery.
So they knew the person.
House.
Yeah.
Somebody in the house.
Yep.
So after the cops found both parents, they sought out to find the stepbrother, Derek, in the house. Because remember, there was his stepbrother was there too. They started with Derek's room, but the door to his room was locked from the inside out.
So he was still in there?
They didn't know. They went to his room.
And it was locked.
To check it, but they couldn't get in because the door was locked.
So he could be in there, or he could have left through a window.
So they couldn't get into his room.
Okay.
After police kicked the door in, they found Derek curled up on his bed with his back facing them and his face towards the wall next to his bed.
Was he alive?
No, his autopsy revealed he died from blunt force trauma to his head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he died from a blow to his head.
So
how the hell did the door get locked?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting. I wonder if the person did leave through the window.
Or how there's some doors where you can lock it and close it behind you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the normal bathroom doors, you just turn it, you can lock it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't have to close a deadbolt or anything. There's no
there goes my theory. I thought he was the one that did it. So
I thought it was too. So maybe it's the other one that was playing video games? ?
Well, he came home and found them.
Who the hell did it?
I'll get into it.
Okay. Who done it?
So they determined he would have died within a few minutes of the first blow.
Okay.
to the head.
So it was probably obviously a very heavy object.
Yeah, and they figured it was like a hammer type object.
Okay.
That was possibly the murder weapon.
So he was found in his bed, you said?
Yes, they found him in his bed, curled up.
Okay.
Like his back was towards them when they walked in, and his face was towards the wall that his bed was next to.
Okay. So also probably in his sleep too.
Probably, yeah.
That's crazy.
So all possible weapons and other evidence from around the home were sent to the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Identification Investigations for forensic testing. Devin told investigators the family openly had a lot of guns, in which they seized for testing.
Okay.
They found muddy footprints along the deck near the family's pond, suggesting the suspect may have disposed of the murder weapons in the pond, because they lived on it was like a 100-acre farm.
Oh wow!
In like the middle of fucking Ohio.
A huge yard.
Yeah.
And the pond is an easy ditch.
Yeah.
Of weapons, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
They drained the pond, but no guns were found.
That was my next question. If they drained it.
Yeah, they drained it.
Interesting.
Weapon-sniffing dogs tracked much of the property, but unfortunately found nothing again.
I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah.
Weapon-sniffing dogs.
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
They have dogs that sniff drugs, and they teach them to sniff
like gunpowder and stuff.
No, like some of them some of them are taught just to smell cocaine. Some of them are taught just to smell marijuana, or they can teach them to smell them all. They have dogs that can sniff out, like gunpowder, residue for like bomb making. They can teach them. They can teach them to smell anything.
Yeah, or like a missing person.
Oh yeah.
I knew the people in the drugs. I had no idea about like weapons. though. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So a neighbor told investigators that she heard a bang, which may have been gunshots, around 6:30 that morning.
Who was this? The neighbor?
A close by
that's what
neighbor.
I thought you said.
So, and obviously she didn't phone that in, I'm assuming, because he later found these bodies at like 1 in the afternoon, so she must have never called it in.
Yeah, she never called
it
in.
Maybe if she only heard one, maybe she thought it was something...
I mean, plus if you're out in the county too...
Yeah, it could be someone shooting a deer for all she knows.
Gunshots. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah.
When you're out in the countryside. So
right, and they had 180 acres.
Yeah,
that's...
right.
Yeah.
It could be some kid lighting off a firework too, who knows?
Yeah, and it's Halloween too, so like fireworks
that's true. I forgot about that
uncommon,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't forget about that. All these cases.
Yeah, that's the one thing they all have in common.
Halloween. I love Halloween. Anyway. Police turned their attention to Devin, like, obviously, because he's the only suspect that they have.
Right.
So.
He's the only one alive.
Yeah. And started asking him questions, which they should have.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had come home after being at his dad's for the night, ran in, got his choir gear, and headed to church. Returning home from church and eventually found the bodies. He immediately cleared as a suspect because
his story checked out.
His story's checked out.
Okay.
Devin had eventually mentioned that his other stepbrother, BJ, was in the driveway when he arrived there before church. He's told BJ he appeared to be loading something into his dad's truck. So BJ was loading something into the truck, his father's truck. And he'd be back shortly. Police finally had a suspect. BJ.
I forgot there was even another stepbrother. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Did it say how old he was when this all happened?
I don't remember. I'm sure it did, but I think I forgot to put... He was in his 20s, like early 20s.
Okay, so another dumb...
Yeah, I don't know the exact how old he was, but it was his early 20s.
Okay.
So police made all their efforts on locating BJ, whose relationship with his mother Susan was alarmingly strange.
Oh God! Well, yeah, I was gonna say if he assaulted her,
right? Can't be normal.
No.
Yeah, neighbors and witnesses told officials there was a long simmering tension between the two ever since she got married to his father.
Okay, so he didn't like her because
Over time, the arguments would turn physical.
Oh, jeez.
Neighbors stated BJ and Susan had some altercations. She was assaulted by him on several occasions.
Oh my God.
They did not.
She was assaulted by him?
Yeah.
Oh,
They did not get along whatsoever.
I'm surprised she didn't get like a restraining order on this guy or something because he didn't,
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe she didn't want to do that to her husband because it's his kid.
Right. That's hard.
Oh, it gets... Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What?
Like, yeah. You'll find out. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
When police looked into BJ's history, he had quite the criminal record. In 2002, BJ had threatened to harm himself after a fallout with his father, William. In 2004, he argued with Susan and punched her in the chest 2 times. He hit
scumbag.
Yeah,
the dad just lets him stay there still?
No. They
let him live there?
He lived there for a while. It gets into it. He lived there for a while, but eventually, like, they're like, you gotta get the fuck out. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy he did something.
Yeah, hit her in the chest. He hit Susan with a coffee mug just 2 months after the incident before running away with her car keys.
This kid's a little punk.
Yeah, this kid's something else.
He's not even a kid.
He needs his ass beat.
He's in his 20s.
Yeah.
This punk knows better.
Yeah. Not long after that, he also attacked his stepmom in the shower.
Oh my God. He was a perv, too.
Well, obviously, if he raped her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He sexually assaulted her.
I think he's got some weird thing with his dad or something. He's like,
Yeah.
No woman's good enough for my dad.
This is not right.
I mean, it's just weird. Like, it didn't seem like she did anything to him, and he just automatically didn't like her right off the bat.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't ever say anything like that she was, like, a mean person or...
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he was just an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just didn't like...
And hit her with coffee cups and punched her in the chest. Right. Like, he clearly has some anger issues that he needed help for.
Yeah.
Didn't like the fact
didn't get
that
the help.
she was with his dad, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he had some weird attachment issue to his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, his aggression towards her grew more and more over the years. BJ's reasoning for all the attacks towards his stepmom was because he didn't like the authority his stepmother tried to conduct over the household.
Even though it's literally part of her job being part of the parents.
Right, and you need it, clearly.
And the thing is, too, this goes back to my theory here. The other stepbrother didn't seem to have a problem with her. So it sounds like it's just this guy. It was
just this dude, yeah.
The other 2 kids were completely fine with her.
Yeah. Yeah. After every act of aggression, BJ was either hauled away by the cops or his father.
I'm just happy they even bothered letting the cops know. Like, reported him.
Yeah, me too.
Because it could have been like, and the dad could have made excuses for him, like, he'll get better, I promise. It's like, no, he stood up for his wife,
right.
So I give him props for that.
I do too. Because that's hard. Picking between your now wife and
your son,
I couldn't, that would be a tough situation. Like, he's my son, but it's my new wife, but like...
Especially since the son's doing it for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Or seemingly so.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, even they said, like, the father would always try working with him. His father would, like, try to take him away on hunting trips to bond with him to, like, try to reconcile all this and, like...
Yeah, see, he's obviously very a present father trying to fix it, and this kid's just not having it.
Yeah. So the police later would always release him because, like, he wasn't contempt enough to stand trial.
So they don't make this guy go into a mental ward. Why?
Yeah.
Or anywhere. Why do any kind of...
Oh, sounds like we might be getting into that later. Yeah. We're jumping the gun.
Yeah. So
okay,
instead of standing trial, he was taken to a mental facility for treatment all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it clearly didn't work.
I was just going to say, it wasn't doing it. It wasn't doing what we needed it to do.
BJ was described as a troubled person who was dealing with some obvious mental illness.
You don't say.
Yeah. Like, I get everyone has different, like, how they deal with mental illness.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, like, I couldn't, I'm having a really bad day with my mental illness. I'm going to punch my stepmom in the chest and beat her with a mug. Like...
And attack someone in the shower.
And attack her, like, no.
I've never been that. Like,
no.
It doesn't make you violent with other people. It's usually yourself. Or,
yeah, he had a history of turning combative and violent, and drinking alcohol would worsen.
I was just going to say, that probably makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
For sure.
But things had gotten so out of hand that BJ was not allowed to live at his father and Susan's house anymore. They finally were just like, we have enough with you. We can't...
Pack your shit.
Yeah, we pack your shit. We can't do this anymore.
As they should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They let it go on for too long, in my opinion.
Yep. Gave him too many chances.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows the dad was very hopeful that his son was going to turn around.
Yeah.
And change.
And I feel like as a parent, you are hopeful.
Yeah, you are hopeful. Yeah.
Right.
No. Okay. Police would eventually track down BJ at a family hunting cabin in Carroll County. BJ had taken his father's Ford F-150 that he was loading up something. there after he had been after he murdered his family.
Oh my God! So he murders them and then steals his dad's truck.
Yeah. So he murders and running into Devin before he was on his way to church. That's how it all came together.
I wonder if Devin was there any longer, if he would have been next.
Probably.
Oh yeah, or if he was there, if he got there
10 minutes earlier or something, he walked in.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
or if he spent the night there, if he would have died too.
Yeah. Oh, he totally would have died for sure. Yeah. Had he not been at his dad's.
Yeah. Right. Thank God he was.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised he let him live. Maybe he was seeing what he looked at in the house. Maybe he was going to follow him in if he didn't come out after a couple minutes. When he went in there to get his stuff for church. Maybe he was timing him to see how long he'd be.
And I don't...
Because if he was sitting outside in the driveway...
Did he run into him before he was going to his church event?
Yeah, so he stopped...
Okay.
He stopped stopped at his mom's house to get his church stuff.
Right.
For the choir. After he spent the night at his dad's.
And then he saw BJ in the driveway.
He saw BJ in the
driveway.
BJ loading something up.
If he's not back in the next couple seconds or he sees something, he's next.
And the thing is, you're not going to go check on your mom and dad because they're sleeping because it's so early in the morning.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And plus, he already knew. He's like, I got to get to church. I got to get in and out.
Yeah.
Grab my stuff.
You're
I
just
need to go.
your shit and you're leaving.
He needs to be there for choir.
Yeah.
They have to be there.
Right.
Yeah. Police would detain BJ at 5:09 p.m. at the cabin on 100 block of Poker Road. And detectives would get to work searching the cabin and property surrounding. They knew they were looking for at least one blunt force object and a small caliber gun, possibly a .22 caliber.
Okay.
Investigators found critical evidence including blood and a .22 caliber rifle in the white Ford F-150. And they also found a bloody hammer in the closet of the cabin.
Gotcha, bitch.
And that's what he used to hit his brother.
And that's what
Yep.
B.J. Liskey was charged with murder. Evidence confirmed that DNA from B.J.'s father, stepmother, and stepbrother were on his clothes he was wearing the day they arrested him.
He didn't change?
No.
What a freaking moron.
And here's what I don't get. Not that he should have... I'm not saying that him killing his stepmom was right by any means. If he had a problem with her and not his brother and his father, why on earth wouldn't he have waited to get her alone?
Yeah.
Why kill the other two? I don't get it. Like, what does he get out of that? Granted, they probably would have turned him in anyway, but...
Or maybe because they both got to live with them still. Maybe he was
they were
angry.
Happy? Maybe he was jealous of their happiness?
Right, maybe he was angry because, they were all having a good life without him.
Yeah.
Because he was kicked out? I don't know.
Rightfully so.
Right.
Yeah. Police also matched the footprints from the dock to the shoes BJ had been wearing also.
And it matched, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However...
You've never seen an episode of CSI, clearly.
Yeah, I didn't watch too many of them.
It's like he wanted to get caught, too. It's very, very strange.
I just don't think he thought it through. I think he just...
He did it on an impulse. He got pissy, and he's like, well, I hate my life. I'm mad today.
Right.
I'm going to kill 3 people. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's good reasoning, kid.
However, in a jailhouse phone call conversation between BJ and his biological mother is when the true confession came out. His mother asked him about the crime. She said, "BJ, how could you?" He responded, "I wasn't in my right mind."
Clearly.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden he goes, "Mom, I can't talk about this anymore." And that was it. That was the only phone call. The phone call ended.
You're going to sit here and talk about it.
Yeah.
You did
I'm pretty
this.
sure they monitor the phone calls.
They do.
Yeah, okay.
Now, tell me about it.
They monitor the phone calls. They read all of your incoming and outgoing mail. They check all of your stuff incoming and outgoing.
You have no privacy.
None. Nor should you.
No,
I agree.
Yeah. On November 2nd, only a few days after his murders, BJ appeared in court where he was ordered to be held on a $1 million bond.
Damn straight.
Yeah. The judge was like, "Fuck you. Like, you're not getting out. Like, you're not going to bond out."
I wish you didn't even have
Yeah, I'm
bond.
surprised they set a bond.
Yeah, I wish you didn't have that.
I think they have to.
No, sometimes
Not
they don't.
necessarily.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't have to set bond.
They can say without
Yeah.
bond.
Held without bond.
Yep.
So, what the $1 million bond, honest to me, is more like a fucking fuck you in the face than a, set with no bond. Because who's going to drop $1 million?
Right, and what young 20-year-old has that much money unless they were born into
his
it.
Mother.
Yeah.
Right.
His real mother wouldn't have that.
Yeah, it was more of a slap in the face than the judge going, "Yeah, no bond." To me, at least. In August of 2011, BJ pled guilty to 3 counts of aggravated murder. in exchange for his plea against to not get the death penalty, and would remain. They said no to the death penalty and remained to give him life in prison instead, without the possibility of parole.
Okay, well that's good at least. Yeah. So he'll never see the light of day again.
Yeah.
And he has to think about what he did every single day.
Yeah.
And
we pay for it.
And I hope it haunts him.
We pay for it. Yeah.
I hope it just kills him inside.
Oh,
it probably doesn't, but I hope it does.
I was going to say, I mean, who knows? I mean, if he says he wasn't in the right state of mind, which I don't know how much of that I believe.
Yeah.
I think that was just a BS excuse, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone's got...
He only said that because he got caught.
Yeah.
It's not like he turned himself in. He's like, I'm so sorry. He showed no remorse.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
He killed his innocent brother and father in the whole thing. He clearly did not care.
I'm just happy the other brother got away.
Me too. I'm sad that I hope he got therapy for finding that and seeing that stuff. I mean, he probably had severe PTSD seeing that.
Right.
His mother, finding his mother dead and stuff. I can't imagine that.
And his stepfather and his
stepbrother. I don't know. That's horrible. But I'm glad that BJ will never have to deal with him again, ever. He never hurt another person.
Because he seemed like a monster.
He can't have kids of his own, thank God.
Yeah, repopulate the world with...
Well, that's not look at Ted Bundy. He's got a daughter, and she's not a psychopathic piece of shit.
She changed her name, too.
Yeah.
We just talked about this.
We did.
Recently?
Yeah. Last time.
I think the last episode.
Yeah.
It somehow got brought up again.
Yeah.
Was it in the Boy in the Box?
It had to have been.
It might have been, yeah. It probably was, because I wouldn't have remembered much more past that. I have the memory of a 90-year-old. So.
Okay.
On a good day.
At the sentencing trial, family members of Bill, Susan, and Derek expressed they just wanted to know why this happened. Lori Morse, Susan's sister-in-law, said, "I will never get the event of the day out of my head. Our family has suffered an incredible loss. BJ tore her heart out and destroyed her family's happiness as we know it. We feel such crippling grief. We will never hear Susan's laughter or Derek's smile again and feel a bear hug from Bill."
This is so sad.
Yeah, that's sad as fuck. I couldn't. Lisa, Bill's sister, said, "We just don't understand how something like this could happen. You see this stuff on TV and think it will never happen to your family.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You love something so much and then they take something away from you. My only brother, my sister-in-law, and Derek." She then turned to BJ and said, "I just don't know how you could do it when they loved you so much."
Yep, there it is. That's exactly what we were thinking.
Right.
Judge Winters then stopped her and advised her to address the court, not the defendant. BJ did make a statement as well. He said, "I loved my dad very much, and it makes me it makes me feel sick every time I think about what I did. I can't really explain."
I doubt it.
Yeah, fuck. You loved him, but you killed him? I can't really explain why this all had to happen, but I think
had to happen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It didn't have to happen.
No.
But I think most of all, it had to do with my mental illness. It also...
I have mental illness. I'm not killing my family.
I feel like mental illness is such a bitch out way to answer anything. Like, oh, it's because I have mental illness. It's like, if you're using that if you're using your mental illness to get out of things as like a way of like making it like, oh, it's my crutch, you don't have mental illness. Because people that actually do have mental illness, they don't fucking talk about it. They keep it to themselves. Mm-hmm. And then when they do start talking about it, that's when it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is that if he's using this as a cop-out, if he knew that he started having thoughts of harming someone else, why wouldn't he have said something to his therapist, to a trusted adult?
Or his
or even
father.
to his dad. Be like, hey, Dad, I love you clearly. Something's not right with me.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Yeah. It's because, like I said before...
He was already in mental wards. It's not like it'd be, like, his first time going back.
Yeah, right?
I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either.
He also stated that it was all his fault and he doesn't blame anyone but himself. So at least he had the balls to say that. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Before handed down the sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole, Judge Bruce Winter says the court is not in a position to make this whole. It is not a position to bring back loved ones. The court can only hope to do justice. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
BJ's defense attorney, Sinnerman, said that BJ was decided legally sane. So they
So we couldn't use the mentally illness thing as an excuse. He was showed that he was
I'm
competent.
happy that they saw that.
But they said he was clearly mentally ill.
Which for sure, no normal person would just kill their whole family. And
no.
He clearly had issues, and I feel like when they had him in the wards, I feel like they should have said that he was a harm to himself or someone else, and that he should have never been able to be
they're
released.
trained to see that shit.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not pinning it on them. Obviously, it is his fault, but he definitely should not have been let out.
I agree.
Of a mental ward. He should have stayed in he should have stayed in an asylum his whole life.
Yeah. Well, this next statement is like, okay, this is clear. He should have been in an asylum. He stated that it was unknown whether or not BJ had been taking his prescribed medication for schizoaffection disorder on that night/morning of the murders, but it's known that he had been heavily drinking alcohol as well.
Which you're not supposed to do on those medications.
You were not. A lot of people do, though.
Nobody was forcing the alcohol down his throat.
Right.
Yep. So on March 15, 2002, 5 years after the murders, BJ Liskey was found dead in his cell at Ross Institutional Corrections. He died of self-inflicted wounds. He was 29 years of age. So
what a cop-out.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like, I saw a quote from his defense attorney after it happened. He said something like, I don't remember what it was word for word, but it was something like, I can see why he did it because he couldn't deal with the realization of what he did. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? He did it. He knew what he did.
No. And he knew what he was doing during it.
Yeah.
And he could have just left his home.
Yeah.
And never spoke to his stepmother again.
There you go.
Why kill her?
Yeah.
Why?
There you go. He could have.
Yeah. His attorney, I didn't really agree with a lot that I read from his attorney. I was like, kind of a piece of shit. You sound like a bitch. But
that's the thing I also don't understand. I do feel bad for, attorneys that do have to defend the people that are clearly guilty, because it's your job to make sure that they're either innocent or you're trying to reduce the sentence. But it's if you know these people are clearly guilty, I couldn't do it.
No.
I can't.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I'm not taking you on. Can't do it.
It would be hard to be a defense attorney.
Yes, I agree.
And then seeing these people back out on the streets and they do the same thing, and you're like, I just defended this guy 2 years ago saying he'd never do the same crap again, and here he is again.
Especially if you know, okay, this dude's fucking guilty. He did some fucked up shit.
Especially if he's a pedophile. Yeah. I would never, ever in a million years defend a pedophile.
And it's shit, I have to sit here and defend this dude. Because, I know a lot of times they're not trying to get him off. They're just trying to,
reduce the sentence.
Give him the best sentence they could have. But it's
not me. I'd be like the defense one, but I'd be like, no. 30 years per person.
You're the defense lawyer, but you're against yourself at the same time.
You guys take Monopoly money, right? Here's a bribe. Guilty, guilty, guilty times 10. Yeah. So that's why I'm not in law school. In case we needed to add an ad lib here.
And people say I'd be a good lawyer, and I
was told the same thing. I love to argue, and I'm like, I don't love to argue. I just love being right.
Same.
Lawyer.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. But yeah, I couldn't.
Want to pay off that debt. Law school, no thanks. It's also highly competitive. Not me, but
to get into a law firm.
People that do it.
Yeah. Years later, Devin, so the stepbrother that wasn't murdered.
Oh yeah. How's he doing?
Stated that BJ wasn't a monster.
Okay, so we forgave him for himself. It's not truly for BJ. We forgave him for himself.
Yeah, we tried our hardest to kind of help him, but we may not have had the necessary understanding to help him the way he needed us to help. Devin is married now, and the wedding was on the property he grew up on, so where that happened.
I love that.
And says that he can't have a sad memory of this place where he lived and loved.
Oh, that's
awesome.
I
love that so much.
Yeah, so that's awesome. He's replacing all the bad with the good. I love that.
Devin and his wife, Alyssa, have a son now, and they named him Derek after his brother that was murdered.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Attaboy, Devin.
Yeah. So it's
it's kind of a good ending.
Yeah, it's kind of a happy ending.
It is.
They had a little boy and named him after his brother. That's kind of cool.
And now I'm just going to crush you guys. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's the end of mine.
All right. So I'm going to take a potty break. So we will be back because we've been here for a little bit.
Potty break, potty break, potty break.
Be back in 5.
Be back in 5.
All right, guys. We are back from a potty break. All right, so the last case we're going to be diving into tonight is going to be the toolbox killers, Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris. This case is not to be confused with the toy box killers. I always assume these cases were the same thing and people just use the word tool and toy interchangeably. But upon Googling cases that happened on Halloween and reading the summary on this one, I came to the realization that these cases, in fact, were not at all the same. Just want to do a trigger warning in the beginning. One of our victims is 18. All the others are children. They're between 12 and I want to say 17 years old.
Jesus, leave the kids alone.
Yeah, this one's going to be rough, guys. I'll try and throw in some more trigger warnings as we get to them. But before we get to the nitty-gritty, I'd like to just give you all a background and talk about the upbringing of these two men, because usually that does serve some sort of importance as to why garbage humans end up being the trash that they are later in life.
Very true.
Garbage human.
I mean, it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
These people.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of serial killers, the similarities is like, oh, your child was fucked up? Oh, okay, well, that makes sense because all the other serial killers' childhood was fucked up.
Right, and then there are some that, they had a good upbringing, but they're still garbage.
Yeah.
And look at us. All three of us had horrible crap happen to us as kids, and we're all fine.
We're angels.
I wouldn't go that far, but at least we're not serial killers.
I would.
We're not serial killers.
We're great kids. Yeah. You had some moments, but me and you...
I was a wild child.
I think we were pretty good kids, but...
I think so still.
Yeah, same.
This goes out to you, Mom and Dad.
Right. Hear us. And reward us good this Christmas. But...
What are we, 12? I was good. Yes. Santa brings me lots of gifts.
I am 12.
No, put it this way, be good to Mason.
Yes. He deserves it. He's a good kid.
It.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's
All right.
awesome.
Let's get into this. All right, so we're going to start with Lawrence Bittaker, who was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on September 27th in the year of 1940, to a teen mother who was an alcoholic and a father who was violent.
Oh, Roy, this starts off great.
Yeah, not so good of an upbringing. His mother would often leave him and his baby brother home alone while she went out partying.
I wonder why she was a teen mom.
Right. Was not ready for this responsibility.
She should have been on that show, Teen Mom. Based in the 40s.
I don't know if it was... Yeah, definitely wasn't around yet. All right. The extended family did convince the mom to give the two boys up for adoption, and they were later adopted by different aunts and uncles in the family. George Bittaker, Lawrence's adopted father, worked in an aircraft factory, which meant he and his family had to move around often. Bittaker said his adoptive parents would clothe and feed him, but they never threw him a birthday party, and he never even attended one. Bittaker felt abandoned and not cared for intellectually.
Can you really believe that? Like, you never had a birthday party?
Yeah, because he's the one that said this. I don't know. I'm not sure. That just seems
like
heartless.
Someone wants a fucking pity party.
Yeah. Like, why would you even say that?
Well, he couldn't even get a birthday party, so why would we throw him a pity one?
That's well, maybe it's
Is he
cheaper.
worthy? No.
So they have a pity party section at the Dollar Tree?
That's actually a good idea.
Pity party of one.
Yeah,
shit. Nowadays, they could make a whole store for pity party and people would buy it. Everyone wants a pity party nowadays.
Right. All right. So he stated they rarely ever took time to sit down and talk with him. Bittaker also stated that his adoptive mother would have him lay down on the bed with his pants down, and she would light her cigarette and repeatedly put it out on him.
The fuck, dude?
And this is all what he's saying, correct?
Right, this is all what Lawrence is saying. So Lawrence was socially awkward as a kid and didn't have any friends growing up. However, he did have a girlfriend in high school whose name was Mary Ann. Mary Ann was a Catholic schoolgirl with big blue eyes and blonde hair. All his victims looked very similar to her.
Okay.
So they all had blue eyes, blonde hair.
Maybe because it was like, oh, this is the only person that loved me, so I want to simulate this, but
this also goes back to I think too with Ed Gein with his mom.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That looked just like his mom.
Yeah. I feel like it's common.
Yeah, it is. I feel like
they relate it to somebody.
It's like the one person in their life that stands out that they had a connection with, and they don't want to.
Or the first time they actually truly felt loved or something.
Yeah, they can't like. They want to re-simulate that because they want to hold on to it forever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like Ed Gein.
Yep.
Right. Marianne was a Catholic schoolgirl with... Oh, I said that already. I apologize. She always wore a cross around her neck, and Lawrence reports he would sometimes make his victims wear a cross, too, while he subjected
that's
them.
Creepy.
Okay.
Yeah, to his heinous acts.
Sadistic, sadist shit.
Yeah. Lawrence audio recorded one of his and Mary's makeout sessions, and you'll find out later how he audio taped the rape and murder for all of his victims. So
how does he escalate that quick?
Yeah.
Goes from that to oh my god.
I know. It's hard to...
I hope those files aren't able to be listened to because the victims...
The recordings, you mean?
Yeah, the recordings. The victims don't deserve that.
No.
Hear their final moments to the world.
Yeah, and they played that in the courtroom.
Oh, dude,
and I guess a lot of people walked out of that courtroom.
Oh, I would too.
But the sick fucker was just sitting there smiling.
Oh, I'm
too,
sure. Because I'm sure he jerked off to these recordings later.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, he's sick. So his sadistic behavior clearly started out at a young age. Mm-hmm. Mary recalls when they were dating, Bittaker would take her hiking in the San Gabriel Mountains. Now remember these mountains, they do come up again later. When Lawrence told Mary he loved her for the first time, she responded, "I like you a lot."
I like you a lot.
So he probably saw that as rejection.
Right. Definitely hurt his ego for sure. He obviously wanted an "I love you" back. For sure. You can say that, like...
The second, like, she didn't respond the way he wanted to, he's like, I'm going to kill you.
She did not die,
oh,
which is
luckily,
good.
Yeah, luckily.
But maybe that's the reason why he targeted the girls that he did.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder if she did love him and set it back, how would all the rest of this...
Oh, shit, that's crazy
that's
to
what
think about that.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it stuck with him. Yeah. He just hung on to that rejection.
That's what his mind was like, okay.
Yeah.
Dude,
something snapped in him.
Have you ever, like, thought about... I'm not trying to, like, cut you off or anything, but,
you're
like, the whole, like, if something would happen to a certain person, like, how the world would be different.
You mean, like, the butterfly effect?
Yeah, like, yes, exactly, the butterfly effect. So, like, there's a documented case from, like, Hitler. Okay, so obviously everyone knows who Adolf Hitler was, the piece of shit scum from World War II that killed hundreds of thousands of Jews and created a whole world war. He served in World War I as a mail carrier. And during World War I, there was a very big thing called, like, gentleman's agreement to where, like, even if it was, like, another side pointing at you and it was a mail carrier, like a young kid, the enemy wouldn't shoot. Or, like, on Christmas, they didn't fight because it was, like...
a truce thing?
Yeah, it was like a truce thing. It was a very gentleman-like thing in the First World War for stuff that like that to happen. There was a lot of shit that happened in the First World War that was inhumane, but, so Hitler was running through the trenches and had to go through a section where that wasn't covered, and an enemy on the other side of the line had him in his sights, and Hitler stopped. He stopped, put his hands up, and was, like, in sheer, confusion, because he was, like, 16 or something at the time, and the enemy, instead of shooting and killing him, lowered his weapon and told him to go. So imagine if he got shot, the entire Second World War never would have happened.
That's crazy to think about.
That is crazy. Yeah.
So, like, the butterfly effect, like something of, like you
what may not seem significant.
Exactly. Like, he could have been another casualty of the First World War, and the Second World War never would have fucking took place.
Right.
That's fucking crazy.
And some of us might not have even been here.
That's true,
without the Holocaust happening.
Oh, yeah,
like,
so
all the
many
people that migrated here.
Right.
And all that.
Yeah, when the war broke out, so many people from Europe left Europe because they were living in a war zone and went to the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Just like some of us, some of the people we might even know, even us. I don't know. My family comes from Germany.
I never thought of that, too.
I know, I'm German.
How many different scenarios that did happen because of him not dying, or him dying, like, could affect, like, just a simple thought of, like, us being in Europe because our families
never would have came
here. Like, that's fucking crazy to think about.
It is pretty wild.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, sorry. That was a small tangent. I just wanted to...
No, you're good. That's what we're here for.
Sheriff Maggie's roping us back in.
Yes.
Crazy the butterfly effect can be.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. Now, Lawrence had an IQ of 138, which
smart
is
guy.
Very
Holy
smart.
Shit.
That's
I have IQ of 24.
I don't even know
I have
mine.
a -2.
I can barely write my name.
Mine's like toast or something random.
What's your IQ?
Yeah, so
Toast.
so that's the top 99th percentile for anybody.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
So even though he had a high IQ, he did drop out of high school at the age of 17. At this point in his life, he had already been arrested at several points. He was sentenced for auto theft, evading arrest, and for a hit and run. Just days after he was released, he was arrested again for another auto theft across state lines. Upon being arrested for this one, he was sentenced to 18 months, but only ended up having to serve 6 months because of good behavior.
Which is crazy too, because it seems like those are also petty crimes, theft and all that.
Right.
That's true. Those are petty crimes.
And it's just crazy to think. So it makes me think about the whole Johnny thing. I mean, that's crazy because he only did petty things too, and look how he escalated.
Right.
Yeah, but this dude got off on good behavior. Johnny got murdered.
True. That's true.
Yeah. And he's a lot sicker than Johnny.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Sure.
In 1960, he was arrested again for a robbery. The following year, he was sentenced between 1 and 15 years in a state prison. There, he had a psychiatric evaluation where they found out he was paranoid, manipulative, and borderline psychotic. Despite this information, he was released in 1963 just to be imprisoned again 2 months after.
Jesus Christ.
For violating his parole with suspicion of another robbery.
This dude's bad at being a criminal.
This reminds me of your guy.
Right.
In and out of these facilities, they know he has issues, but hell, let's let him out in the public and let him do whatever the hell he wants again.
Dude, it's a horrible.
Great.
He's a really bad criminal. He should have stopped.
I know.
Changed his life around.
Like, no, give him another chance. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
4 chances later. No, one more. One more.
Dude, you've been here like 5 times. Like, you should probably find a new hobby.
They're probably on first name basis with this guy now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Goes to the lunch line. Hey, Jerry, how you doing? How are the kids?
What's for lunch today? Justice.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, so over the next 15 years that followed, he was incarcerated numerous times for various crimes. One of his last served sentences was for an attempted murder where he stabbed a grocery clerk in the parking lot after attempting to shoplift a steak.
He stabbed someone over a steak.
A steak.
He stabbed someone over a steak.
I know. He's crazy.
Hey, what are you in for? I stabbed someone. Why? Do you owe you money? Nah. I tried stealing a steak.
So the question is, it's not what would you do for a Klondike bar. It's what would you do for a steak? And Lawrence is like, 0 to 100, I'll shank someone.
It's like, damn, dude, you want from 0 to 100.
I mean, steak is expensive. It is a luxury.
Don't get any ideas for tomorrow night in my birthday.
I'm not stab anyone
for having steak. I'm a little worried now.
I will not stab anybody.
Okay.
The waitress tomorrow's like, sir, please put the knife down. I want my steak.
All right. So while serving his time at the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo, this is where he met his partner in crime, Roy Norris. Now, Roy Norris was born in Greeley, Colorado on February 5th, 1948, and lived with his family occasionally, but was most often placed in the care of foster families. Roy allegedly suffered neglect by these families and had been sexually abused by at least one of them.
Jeez. Fuck that.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's worse than Bittaker.
We're like, jeez, and you're like, yeah, he's a monster.
You're like, jeez, this sucks. It gets worse. Hold your horses, guys.
It does. This case is worse than all of yours, and I'm sorry that this is the last one that you will be going to bed with, or, starting your day with, or whenever you're listening.
Leave it to Maggie to make it dark.
Hey, my first one wasn't that bad.
No.
The Tylenol murders, that was nothing compared to this, I feel like.
I suppose.
So Norris dropped out of high school as well, but he briefly joined the Navy and was honorably discharged with a diagnosis of severe schizoid personality by military psychologists.
Man, you have to be pretty fucked up for the military to be like, you're too psychotic.
And it's not just one. Both of these two are mentally unwell.
Yeah, but he is worse, and you will see Bittaker does kind of follow his lead and stuff.
So he's easily impressionable and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Easily influenced for sure by Norris, 100%. So most of his time was spent in San Diego, California, in his time serving. Although he did spend 4 months in Vietnam, but never saw combat. In November 1969, Norris was arrested for an attempted rape of a female motorist after he viciously attacked her.
So he's got the history of the assault.
Yes, so he...
Okay.
Right. 3 months later, while he was out on bail, he was arrested again for breaking into a woman's home with the intent of rape, but was stopped by the police. In May the following year, while still out on bail, he nearly killed a San Diego State College student by slamming her head into the pavement after bashing her head in with a rock.
Why are they letting this dude out?
That's what I'm saying.
Not just once. We're like 5 or 6 at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, okay.
He's obviously not able to be rehabilitated.
Why are they setting bail for this dude?
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
But because the woman survived the attack, he was only charged for assault with a deadly weapon.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Are you serious? It's attempted murder.
I know.
How is it just assault with a deadly weapon? That
Here's
doesn't
my
make sense.
question. The fact that he should be on parole, how does he keep getting out on all these things?
Yeah.
You think his time
he's
should be doubled every time he goes in?
He's
for breaking
manipulative
parole.
for sure. He was put in the Atascadero State Hospital, which is a psychiatric institution, since he was now labeled as a mentally disordered sex offender.
Yep, but they're letting him fucking go on parole.
Just wait. He'll get out again
Yep.
soon.
He was released after 5 years for being deemed as no further danger to others.
Okay.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
3 short months later,
Yep.
Norris strangled a woman to the point of unconsciousness and raped her.
Yep, no, not... Yeah,
There it is.
He's not a danger to the others, right? So
Right,
let's
even-
just let him
he just
out.
did that.
He
And it's
literally...
been 3 months.
Yeah,
3
3
months.
months later. I bet the dude that was in charge of, like, the mental ward was just like, oh, fuck. You again? Get fired.
And that's on his conscience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Piece
And
of
then a
shit.
month after that happened, he was identified as the assailant and was convicted. During his time serving the sentence in San Luis Obispo, where he and Bittaker met, as mentioned previously, the two spent their time sharing and realizing that they shared a common interest and both had the same sadistic fantasies. From there, the toolbox killers were born.
Fucked
Oh, that's
up.
interesting. That's interesting. I mean, especially since Bittaker wasn't really into the whole, assault thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
interesting.
Right, he
That's
was into
true.
petty crimes.
Yeah, he had, like...
Yeah, but
He did stab a guy over steak, though, so...
That's true, but that's, even still, that's
I'm
different.
sorry, it's not funny, but it is.
It's different still from jumping to assaulting a woman, but I really do think this shows how influential Norris was.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he dragged this guy into it and did it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing, too, is maybe since Bittaker, this is just my theory, he felt so abandoned and everything by his girlfriend and everything, maybe he found someone that finally accepts him for who he is, and he's like, hey, this guy accepts me, I feel safe then, he's a friend, I'm going to go along with whatever he does.
You just imagine, I can just picture, like, the first time the two meeting, the one was like, I love you, and the other guy was like, I like you too now, because you love me.
Yeah, notice, I love you, I like you too.
I like you too.
Right.
Oh, shit.
You said it, man, I'm just putting the two and two
I
together.
bet they were fucking.
Oh, get out of here. Come on.
I don't know about that.
Maybe.
I mean, if they were, it wouldn't have escalated to the women, I don't think.
I don't know.
I would hope not.
Yeah, but they both were, like, sadistic sexual fucks.
Yeah.
All right. So now they got together. They realized they had the same,
Interests,
fantasies, all that. So their plan was to torture and rape girls together.
What the fuck, dude?
And murder them to make sure they wouldn't get caught. Now, when they were in prison, they said they wanted to rape and murder a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17, 8. They wanted to do in order. I don't know if they wanted it in order, but they did want to do every teen age.
Which I don't understand how this went from not only just assaulting women to pedophilia, too, because it sounds like neither one of them had history with being a pedophile.
Yeah.
So that's interesting how
yeah,
they
that's
just
true.
emerged from there.
Dude, I'm surprised someone that was in prison with them didn't overhear him
this.
and didn't fucking kill him because they don't take that shit lightly in prison.
I wish they had, to be honest.
Especially like with rape too. The first time is in, like, if they find out that you raped a woman in prison, they'll fucking kill you over that.
And the guards will turn their backs.
Yeah, like they don't fuck with that shit in there.
Which makes me kind of happy.
Yeah,
because nobody
deserves to be raped.
No, nobody.
No.
Especially children.
No.
Oh god, dude, that's so fucked up.
They don't even know what the hell's happening or what the hell that is. They're still so new to figuring it out too. Like 13, 14.
They're so innocent. It's like, I don't understand what can go through your mind to want to do that to a child.
And the fact is, it's not just like a happy ending for you. You're ruining their entire life, their future experiences.
They live with it their whole lives.
Yeah.
They constantly go back to it. They constantly relive it. Like, it's fucked up. Like, it's not right. I'm saying, if anyone's ever charged with pedophile, there should be no trial. Well, obviously a trial to convict them, but there should be no, like, you should get killed right away. And don't use bullets. Use rope. Rope's cheaper. Bullets are too expensive. They're not worth the bullets. Like, just fucking hang them.
Yeah. You have some...
I fucking hate pedophiles.
I do too.
I fucking hate them.
Yes, I know, honey. All right, so after Bittaker was paroled, he got a job as a machinist in Los Angeles. 2 months after his parole, Norris too had been released and moved in with his mother in Los Angeles. So now they're in the same place at the same time. Not good. And he was a electrician. So in February 1979, Bittaker and Norris made contact with one another and put their plan into motion. Bittaker bought a 1977 GMC cargo van, which had a huge door on the passenger side through which the victims could be conveniently snatched. Oh. They ghoulishly named the GMC Murder Mac and spent a few months doing trial runs by cruising along the Pacific Coast Highway and occasionally making stops at beaches to talk to girls and take photographs of them.
A bunch of fucking losers. Get a fucking hobby, dude.
Yes, I agree.
Make model planes or some shit, you
anything,
fucking weirdo.
Anything but this. During their trial run, they picked up more than 20 hitchhikers, not to assault them, but to practice luring girls into the van.
You said this was during the 70s, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know hitchhiking was very popular in the 70s.
I'm also surprised that they didn't try killing a single one of these people.
So this was 1979. So almost the 80s.
Yep. Okay,
so it's crazy.
Yeah, right.
You'd think their urges would be too much.
Right,
and
yeah,
the fact that they
that's
didn't
true.
even try, it's interesting to me.
Well, they had to do a trial run, though. They had a time trial.
To see if they could even do it and get away with it.
They had to do hot laps and time trial and make sure they,
Yeah.
Like the fucking race.
Mm-hmm. Like, they clearly planned this out, like, to a
Which
T.
is fucked up that they're planning it.
I agree. So, after their testing phase, Bittaker and Norris constructed a bed in the rear of the van, beneath which they placed tools, clothes, and a cooler filled with beer and soda. They then took some time to search for a desolated locale. During their search, they came across a secluded fire road in the San Gabriel Mountains. I mentioned that in the beginning.
From the girlfriend?
Yep, where they went hiking. Bittaker took a crowbar and snapped the lock to the gate of the fire road and replaced it with his own lock. So now they could get in and out of this fire road whenever they wanted.
To a fire department showing up, be like, what the fuck?
I was just going to say that. I'm honestly surprised they didn't have someone come take a look at that every couple weeks.
Yeah, you think there would be like a...
I bet they do that now. They didn't before.
Yeah. Like to make sure it's properly working.
Yeah, right, in case there actually is an emergency.
Yeah. The fire department is like, who the fuck changed the lock?
I know, I would be pissed. Alright, this is not going to be funny anymore. Okay, so all they needed now was their first victim. They got the road, they got the vehicle completely mastered.
They got the plan.
They have everything.
Yeah.
Now, trigger warning. This one is a 16-year-old girl. She is raped. She is murdered. If that's sensitive to you, please do not listen.
Yeah, skip forward a little
any
bit.
farther. Probably don't listen to the rest of this episode. It's bad. I'm just gonna get a drink of water. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Drink your, was that 5-gallon water? 5-gallon jug of water?
Seems like it, doesn't it?
It's filled with my tears.
You said you didn't want to fucking refill your Stanleys anymore, so you're just like, I'm going to stop doing it. I'm just going to drink straight from the jug.
Yeah, my throat's been bugging me lately. All right, so on June 24th, they abducted their first victim, Lucinda Lynn Schaefer, who I said was only 16 years old at the time, and had just left her Presbyterian church meeting in Redondo Beach. Bittaker and Norris drove to the beach around 7:45 that night and saw Lucinda walking down a side street when Bittaker remarked, "There's a cute little blonde."
Oh, jeez. That's sick. It's like they're just, you just know they're watching her. It's just...
Yeah.
It's just sick. That really bothers me.
Yeah, that's not right. That's creepy. Like again, dude, like... It's because you had a fucked up childhood. It's like, why do you...
They don't get a free pass, no way.
No, I don't know.
It's just sad. And the fact that, like, they were just, like, looking at her and, like, oh, yeah, there she is. That's where we're going to take. It's like, oh, my God.
Like, creepily, just, like, I can just picture the two sitting in the van, like, bonding over the fact of them, like, just picking out people. If you have the cough. It's okay.
All right, so their first attempt to entice her into the van proved to be unsuccessful. When bribes of marijuana, beer, and a ride home didn't work, they drove past her and parked alongside a driveway. When Norris exited the vehicle, slid open the passenger side door, and pounced and dragged her into the van. Norris and Bittaker then bound her ankles and wrists and put duct tape over her mouth. This was the moment her fate had been sealed. Mm-hmm. With bound wrists and ankles and her mouth duct taped, Lucinda had no way to defend herself. Despite her initial scream, the only thing she could control was denying these two men the satisfaction of witnessing her pain and distress. Bittaker claimed in a statement that Lucinda, quote-unquote, displayed a magnificent state of self-control and composed acceptance of the conditions of which she had no control, and that she, quote-unquote, she shed no tears, offered no resistance, and expressed no great concern for her safety. I guess she knew what was coming.
What the fuck, dude?
Monster.
Like, how don't sit here and like try to make her like you gave a shit or like what you're saying. Like don't act like you gave a fuck.
Exactly.
Like, don't sit here and like give her props for like being
handling it well.
Yeah, like what the fuck? No. Like, she was a badass. Everyone knew after what he said. Like, that's some fucking gangster shit that she, like, didn't give him the satisfaction. But, like, that's fucked up for him to say. Like, don't say that.
I agree. So, with the radio at full volume, Bittaker drove to their prearranged fire escape road in the mountains. Norris remained in the back of the van with Lucinda as Bittaker drove. Once they arrived, the two men took turns raping Lucinda, while the other, quote-unquote, took a walk. The only thing Lucinda asked for was a second to pray before Norris attempted to manually strangulate her. Ugh. 45 seconds in, Norris became freaked out by her protruding eyeballs, so he ran to the front bumper of the van and got sick from the sight.
Oh, I'm so sorry that your fucked up shit made you sick.
Yeah, like, sorry to inconvenience you.
Right.
Again, fucking pity party.
You asshole. But Bittaker claimed he was unfazed by the sight of her bulging eyeballs, so he wrapped a wire coat hanger around Lucinda's throat and squeezed it tight with a pair of vice grips.
Jeez.
This was a signature move they both would continue to use on all of their victims. Norris and Bittaker rolled Lucinda's cold body in a plastic shower curtain and tossed her into a canyon where they expected wild animals would take care of the rest and destroy the evidence. 2 weeks after the murderous pair spotted 18-year-old Andrea Joy Hall, she was hitchhiking along the Pacific Coast Highway. Bittaker and Norris saw another car pick her up, so they followed that car for miles until she got out of it.
Wow, like they just, the second they got locked onto someone, like they had to finish it.
Yeah, they had to have her.
Right, yeah, once they saw the girl they
wanted. I'm surprised
wanted,
the person
that's who they got.
The person that was driving the car originally with her as a hitchhiker didn't realize like someone was fucking following them.
Yeah,
like I'm constantly checking my mirrors. Like I get freaked out if someone's following me like on the interstate for a little bit. Like what is this motherfucker?
I think people are way too trusting back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Hell, they even left their doors unlocked of their homes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are way more trusting then.
That's like dad. Your dad. He keeps the fucking door locked.
I don't do that. Do not.
No, he doesn't. In case anyone's listening.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. He doesn't. Yeah. No, he does. He's loaded with shotguns at the door. But yeah, like I mean, he obviously locks up at night, but like all night long, he doesn't care. But then again, like if someone walked in and saw your dad, he'd be like, never mind, I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah.
Your dad's a beast.
Yeah, he is. All right. So, when she got out of the car, the first car that picked her up, she still hadn't reached her final destination because the previous person wasn't willing to take her that far. So she unfortunately went back to hitchhiking. Norris went and hid underneath the makeshift bed, while Bittaker pulled up and started talking to Andrea from the passenger side window. Andrea looked around the van and hopped in, and that's when Bittaker told her there's a cooler in the back with cold drinks So she went into the back to grab one, and that's when Norris came out from hiding and attacked her. She fought for her life, and I mean really fought for her life. She started punching Norris like her life depended on it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Because it truly did. At this point, it's very noisy in the van, and Bittaker is stuck in traffic where people can easily hear what's happening inside the van, so he jacks the stereo up to full volume. Bittaker then noticed that Andrea was overpowering Norris.
Hell yeah.
So, I said, she fought. So he slammed on the brakes, and the two flew backwards, which helped Norris get control of Andrea. Bittaker then drove them to the fire road. Once there, trigger warning, don't listen. They took turns raping her while taunting and encouraging her to scream. They then forced her to pose for some Polaroid photos and told her, "I'm going to kill you," right before snapping the shot. With sheer terror in her eyes, she pleaded for her life. Neither one of them listened. Instead, they shoved an ice pick through her skull, strangled her by hand, and then tossed her lifeless body off of a cliff.
Ooh, fucking ice pick. God damn.
Yeah, I heard that's like the worst pain you'll ever experience in your entire life. It like feels like your ears are bleeding.
Oh, through the ear?
I'm sorry, that might be the next victim.
Oh, okay.
I actually think this one was through her ear too.
Ugh.
Either her skull or her ear, but the next one gets both ears.
Damn, to go through the skull though, they really had to do some force with an ice pick.
Alright, so our next two victims, just trigger warning.
Just for like the rest of the case, probably.
A lot of it. Okay, so on September 3rd, Jackie Norris Gilliam and Jacqueline Leah Lamp, I'm going to refer to Jackie as Leah to make it easier to follow, were sitting on a park bench 5 minutes from Hermosa Beach where they were headed. Bittaker found it odd that they were hitchhiking a ride there when they were already within walking distance. Norris and Bittaker offered them a joint, and when they were sitting in the back of the van with Norris smoking marijuana, Norris slammed Leah over the head with a pre-filled bag of BB gun pellets. This knocked Leah unconscious momentarily. He then attempted to bind and gag 15-year-old Jackie Gilliam, but Leah regained consciousness and tried to escape the van in front of a set of tennis courts where people were actually playing tennis. Leah came out of the van screaming bloody murder, as she damn well should have, when Bittaker stopped the van, came around, and slugged Leah in the face as hard as he could. Bittaker then turned around and yelled, "She's having a bad LSD trip. I'm just taking her home," to all the people playing tennis before dragging Leah back into the van, and then he helped Norris in binding and gagging the two girls.
Dude, like,
what a clusterfuck,
yeah,
right?
in the right mind, it's like you just slugged this girl in the face because she's having a bad LSD trip.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
No.
Like, even if she's having a bad LSD trip, you shouldn't slug her in the face.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Like, I'm surprised no one in the tennis courts were like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you just slugged her in the face." Like, I'm surprised they didn't go up or grab the license plate or
call
whatever.
maybe
It makes me wonder how far apart or how far away the court actually was from the road. Who knows if they could even see the truck?
Yeah.
Or the van.
Right. I mean, look at the high school where we went.
Yeah.
They're kind of far from the road. I mean, they're close to the road, but they're far enough where maybe you wouldn't hear that.
Yeah, our tennis courts where I went to high school was it was like a road and they were right there. But it had a huge 3-story fence surrounding it, so obviously the tennis balls wouldn't go into the road.
Yeah.
But I guess it just depends on the setup.
Right. Alright, so Bittaker told Jackie that he was going to rape her and that she better pretend that she was enjoying it.
Ugh, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, they're sick. And that's when Bittaker found out that she was a virgin.
Oh,
Bittaker took deep satisfaction in knowing that and was excited to tape record the rape of a virgin.
Oh, that's fucking sick, dude.
When the four of them arrived to the San Gabriel Mountains, Jackie and Leah were held captive for nearly 2 full days.
Wow.
Repeatedly raped and forced to pose for pornographic Polaroid photos. This was the first time Norris and Bittaker had kept a victim for nearly 48 hours. They did so because it was the weekend and they both didn't have to go to work the next 2 days and figured they had nothing better to do.
Wow. Oh, that's odd. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I got nothing better to do, so.
Pieces of shit.
I don't have a fucking
actual
hobby.
scum of the earth. Norris claimed to have buried the cassette in a nearby cemetery, but it's never been recovered.
Oh, he's fucking lying.
Oh, for sure. He has it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
These poor girls were tortured in unimaginable ways, including having their breasts punctured with an ice pick.
Ooh.
Norris also tore off one of Jackie's nipples with pliers.
Holy fuck, dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, got the heebie-jeebies. Even death didn't come swiftly to Jackie. Bittaker drilled an ice pick into both of Jackie's ears before strangling her to death. He then beat Leah with a sledgehammer, strangled her for fun, beat her again, and then strangled her to death too.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Actual monster. Bittaker and Norris tossed both bodies over an embankment into a California chaparral.
What's
which
a
is
chaparral?
It's an area of land consisting mostly of like shrubs and like thorny bushes and whatnot. On October 31st, here we go. So on October 31st, 1979, Halloween, Norris and Bittaker found their very last victim. Another trigger warning, she is 16. So her name was Shirley Lynette Ledford, and she was hitchhiking looking for a ride back home after a Halloween party when Bittaker and Norris picked her up. 48 hours after Shirley was offered a ride from this dangerous duo, a jogger stumbled across her posed naked and mutilated corpse lying in someone's front lawn.
Jesus fuck.
Oh god, they probably thought she was like one of those mannequin things.
Yeah.
I'll say that later.
Ornament. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll say that later.
Can't even imagine. If that was your house.
I know.
It's like, God, the kids are getting out of hand. They usually just toilet paper.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Not bloody mannequins. I'll mention that later. Some people thought that Shirley accepted a ride on that fateful Halloween night because she recognized Bittaker from the restaurant where she'd worked as a part-time waitress. Supposedly, Bittaker frequented the establishment. Moments after Shirley climbed inside the van, Bittaker hopped in the back and drew a knife on her when she grabbed it by the blade to stop him.
Damn.
Yeah.
She's bad.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she was no match for Bittaker, and he bound and gagged Shirley with barricade tape. The nightmare had begun. Norris and Bittaker didn't bring Shirley to the mountains like they did with all their other victims. They instead brought her to an isolated gravel dirt path. That's where they proceeded to torture and rape her. During their time taking advantage of this poor girl, they decided to make her play along by pretending that she was enjoying what was being done to her. When Bittaker wasn't getting the reaction he wanted out of her in the tape recording, he began hitting her. Bittaker tormented Shirley, ordering her to scream louder. What's the matter? Don't you like to scream?
Oh, fuck. That's sick son of a
Yes. On tape, Shirley pleaded with Bittaker, "No, don't touch me." To which Bittaker replied, "Scream as loud as you wish." And then he and Norris switched places, and Norris bludgeoned Shirley with a sledgehammer, punching her breast in order to, quote-unquote, beat them back into her chest, because he's fucked hard.
Fuck, dude.
As Bittaker raped and sodomized Shirley, he tortured her with a pair of pliers. At trial, Norris later described he'd heard screams, constant screams, coming from the rear of the van. The audio recording is no longer available to the public.
Good.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
For her
Right,
privacy.
yes. I agree there. Norris references the recording in a quote. This is sick. "We've all heard women scream in horror films. Still, we know that no one is really screaming. Why? Simply because an actress can't produce some sounds that convince us that something vile and heinous is happening. If you ever heard that tape, there is no possible way that you'd not begin crying and trembling. I doubt you could listen to more than a full 60 seconds of it."
Like, the dude's proud of it.
He's proud of
They
it.
should have killed that guy on the spot.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
the
surprised
second-
everybody in the courtroom didn't just like tackle him and strangle him to death.
Well, I'm surprised they weren't just like, alright, case done with, he's guilty. Hopefully
Right.
the death penalty is okay in this state because the fucker deserves to die. Like, the second he said that, they should have been like, okay, well, you're obvious.
done here.
Yeah, we're done.
Right.
You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Satan will fuck you with the pineapple in hell.
We can only hope.
Good movie.
Little Nicky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good
Now,
movie.
Norris was kind of smart. Not anywhere close to Bittaker, but still smart enough to know what he was doing. So even though he tried to downplay his involvement during his testimony, he still switched places with Bittaker, taking turns torturing and raping Shirley. Norris was the one who hit record on the who hit the button to start recording on the tape recorder. Only a sick, twisted individual would want to make a memento of his own sadistic involvement with Shirley.
Yeah, he ain't no fucking...
Yeah, he's no angel here.
Yeah, he ain't no angel. He's just as
Absolutely
bad.
Not. So make no mistake, both men were equally heinous. Bittaker and Norris had zero empathy for their victims or their families. I personally feel like Norris deserved equal punishment, but he cut a deal. If he pled guilty to all of the murders and agreed to lead detectives to where they left the bodies of the victims, he'd only get 45 years to life.
I'm just going to touch on that real quick. Let's not forget, Norris is the one that had all the past rape victims and crimes before they even did this.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we're so...
But they let him off easy?
We're going to let you off in a deal.
Yeah,
not that the other guy should have been let off easy by any means, but they picked this asshole?
Yeah.
Right.
That's fucked. I'm sorry.
Previous charges before all this,
They were all rape, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows his intent. That just rubs me the wrong way entirely.
Yeah.
Then they let this guy off, easy free here.
Oh, you're fucked up before this, but since you're going to work with us, we're going to make a deal. They should have been like, they should have fucking lied to him. Be like, we'll cut a deal.
Yeah, and then
we'll cut a deal with you.
Yeah.
And then he tells him, like, actually, fuck you, dude. We're not cutting anything with you.
There's no proof that they made that deal. The recording magically disappeared.
Oh, so we know you like recording, but we didn't record this deal.
Yeah,
so
it never happened.
Sucks to suck.
And they can make that stuff disappear.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And they should have. Back in the van, Shirley saw Norris grab a sledgehammer and screamed, "Oh no," as Norris struck her in the left elbow, shattering the bone.
Ooh.
He didn't stop there. As Shirley begged him not to hit her again, Norris didn't listen to her pleas and struck the same broken elbow 25 more times.
And this guy was let off early.
Yep, 45 years.
Yeah, this guy.
Holy fuck, dude. You imagine getting hit in the elbow 25 times?
Absolutely not.
No, can't even imagine it once.
No.
Nope. Shattering it with a sledgehammer? No. And they let this guy off.
That's gotta be like
sink in.
one of the worst pains of your life. When he finally stopped, he glared at Shirley, who was now sobbing, shaking, and immensely terrified. This ugly rat then had the audacity to ask her, "What are you sniveling about?"
Because you look like a rat, bitch. But all the other fucked up shit you did too, like, don't forget about that, but...
Right. So after he straight up beat the shit out of her...
Why are you crying?
And was being a dick to her, he has the audacity to ask that.
What an entitled asshole.
I know, I got so angry reading this part.
And again, they let this guy off free for making a stupid deal.
Yeah. Only 45 years.
These men are true scum of the earth.
They should add 25 years on no sense because of every time he hit her with a sledgehammer.
Oh, I agree, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Or he got hit, something bashed, he got his knees bashed in.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's only fair, right?
Dude comes up with a sledgehammer and just starts beating the shit out of his knees. Like,
shit,
it was his elbows? Oh, I guess we're going to have to do that too then.
Hell, if that's where our taxpayer money's going, I am.
Dude, I would,
for
real, I would gladly pay my taxes knowing that it's going for some cool ass shit like that. Like,
it should be like broadcasted on national TV for the world to see.
Yeah.
Because...
Like how that used to be a thing, public execution, people would line up for that. It was
I think they should bring that back.
Especially for people like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know, so when they do lethal injections, they have like a viewing room, right? Can anyone go into that, or is that just like family and attorneys and... I don't know. I can't imagine that they would let the public see that.
No.
I don't know.
Because I know court cases, anybody can.
Right.
Does it matter if it's like what the court case? If it's like misdemeanor court, I know you can sit on that.
Yeah, you can sit on that.
Can you sit on it like any court case?
I don't know. Especially if it involves minors, I don't know if you can.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. If it's like a triple homicide, like something like this, I don't know.
Because then too, it's like same with the jury. They're not supposed to know anything about the court case. So if it's a multiple day thing, how do they know people that weren't in there the first day aren't going to blab?
That's true.
You know, I don't know if they let the general public into that.
Well, I know for a court, if you're on the jury, you don't get to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about people that go in to sit in. How do they know that they're not going to blab about what's going on?
Well, I guess I don't think they care about that. I think they just care about the jury.
Oh, okay.
So it's an unbiased.
But doesn't
it's a biased.
But isn't if the general public talks about the case, don't they throw it out then?
No. Because how does the news? the news covers the court case and that the news is broadcasted. Because I know if you're like on the jury...
Isn't that after, though? After
no, it's during. No, it's during,
okay.
yeah. So I know if you're on the jury, you can't even watch the news. You can't watch TV. You're not supposed to, but yeah. Like, you can't even go home. They make you stay at a hotel and shit.
That's true, yep. All right, so after 2 straight hours of torture, Norris finally killed Shirley by strangling her with a coat hanger and tightening the wire with the pliers. Norris realized it was getting late in the early morning and he had to be back to work for the day at 7:30.
That's not like that's what he's fucking worried about.
I know. And had a long commute ahead of him, so he and Bittaker decided that they should pose her body on a random lawn in Sunland to gauge a reaction from the public. So before dawn, Bittaker took lookout to make sure Norris could pose Shirley's mutilated remains on an ivy patch in someone's front lawn without any witnesses. Not wanting to take their last chance for granted to humiliate this poor girl, they posed her there with her legs wide open.
Jesus fuck, dude.
Yeah. That morning, the lady's property in which Shirley was found had actually thought her body was a mannequin from Halloween the night prior. The autopsy revealed extensive blunt force trauma to her face, head, and breasts, as well as having sustained multiple fractures to her olecranon, which is the bony tip of the elbow. Shirley's genitalia and rectum were torn by Bittaker, who raped her with a pair of pliers. Her left hand had a puncture wound, and the finger on her right hand had a deep slash mark. So one of them was from her grabbing the knife. Yeah.
She probably almost cut her finger off doing that.
Yeah, it was pretty deep. I saw a photo of it. It was on I think it was her right hand. At trial, Bittaker claimed the tape recording was nothing but a threesome, but added toward the very end that Shirley Ledford pleaded for her death.
Yeah, that's just
can't say I blame her.
Consensual threesome, yeah.
Plus, isn't she 16?
Such a lie.
Yeah,
right.
Statutory rape.
Yeah, she can't even consent to that.
Yeah, I'd plead for them to stop with the abuse and kill me too.
Yeah.
In November 1979, a guy named Joe Jackson called the police department to name who had committed the murder of Shirley Lynette Ledford. When Roy was in jail, he had befriended this man. One day, Roy told Jackson that he had been kidnapping, raping, and murdering young girls all over the South Bay area with Lawrence Bittaker. This information disturbed Jackson so deeply that even him himself, being a serial rapist, went to the cops. Detectives began to tail Norris after receiving this tip, knowing good and well that he was not smart enough to commit these crimes on his own.
Well, plus, he's proven that he's an idiot. Why the hell is he bragging about it in jail?
Well, he called him on the phone.
And it's all monitored. What a dumbass.
Right. Like, people listen, they listen to those.
But I'm glad he did, because he got his ass caught.
Yeah, right.
When Norris stopped at a local drugstore, he left a shopping bag in the front seat of his car that was slightly open enough for an officer to see through the window that it was full of marijuana.
Did he stab someone over a steak again?
No. That was the other one.
Oh,
or was it?
Well.
Yeah, because this is Norris. Bittaker's the one that stabbed over
I
the steak.
don't know. Maybe he got him into stabbing people over steaks.
Hey, he got him into raping, maybe.
Seriously.
Hey, when I'm in prison, do me a favor. Stab someone over a steak in my name.
Oh, sweetie. So police came up behind him inside the store and put a gun behind his ear and put him under their arrest for a parole violation, which meant that they could search his residence.
Surprise, motherfucker. That's all I can picture.
Look at that. It's the consequences of your own actions.
Exactly. Upon their search, they found 500 photographs of young women taken in supermarket parking lots, gyms, girls walking home from high school, etc. There was a lot of instances. They also found a photograph of a girl who was nude from the waist up with her hands folded behind her head. This photograph was of Jackie Gilligan. During detectives' time in Norris's home, Bittaker called looking for Norris, and a detective told him that Norris was up on the roof fixing his antenna. And Bittaker immediately thought something was fishy, so he hurriedly cleaned out the van entirely. He got rid of all of it, the photographs, the tapes, all of it. He did an entire sweep of the van. Everything was gone. Or so Bittaker thought. Hang on to this. We'll be right back in a jiffy. While doing their search in Norris's duplex, they came across a little card that said the Scott's Motel, and it also had Bittaker's name on it. So detectives called Burbank PD to have them go to the residence. Burbank PD kicked in Bittaker's front door and window and put him under arrest. Bittaker was not cooperative at all with law enforcement. He claimed he wanted to talk and waive his rights.
But you ain't got rights.
Mm-hmm. But then proceeded to say, you ain't got shit.
Okay.
Now, Bittaker had stripped the entire van clean, right?
Wrong.
No siree, Bob. He surely did not. You're right. He missed one thing and one thing only. The tape recording of Shirley Ledford from Halloween night was still in the cassette player under the driver's seat.
I'm happy that happened, but what a dumb fuck.
Right? Even after all of this, Bittaker still pled not guilty and blamed everything on Norris and another third party who was never named by Bittaker because that person did not exist.
Yeah. Oh, it's Mysterio Man. It's a third party dude. Like, dude, it's your fucking voice.
Yeah.
On the recording. Like, how stupid do you think we are? Like, obviously,
the only thing you could have done in the moment is just owned up to it.
Yeah, like your partner says your name in it. Like, is there just another you?
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking dumb?
Yeah, and he held on to this for years.
What a douche.
So he didn't tell his story until he became close with a woman named Laura Brand, who was a criminologist, and she interviewed him for 5 years.
Holy crap.
Until he died. So
dedication, girl.
Yeah, she reached out numerous of times, like lots and lots of times, before he actually agreed to talk with her. So as when she was reaching out to him, so were a lot of other people who wanted to interview him. So he got lots of calls, like just coming in, big letters, you name it.
He got exactly what he wanted.
You name it.
I'm famous now.
But
I'm God.
But he finally agreed to talk with Laura and tell the stories of these victims and his involvement when he had a series of heart attacks and started having other health issues that awoke something in his brain.
Oh, poor pity me, and when it dies, I'm gonna come clean. Did she look like any of the victims?
Well, she was blonde. I don't know what color her eyes were. I did see her, because I saw, like, interviews with her.
Because you know how he had, like...
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's why. She went through, like, death row to, like, talk to him, and she was pregnant, like, very pregnant.
Damn.
Yeah. And he said to her, like, he's like, if I would have had at least one good parent, I wouldn't be the way I am today.
Again, boy, pretty fucking pity party.
Yeah.
Oh, good for her. You go, girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she got stuff out of him, which is great. So thank goodness he had this moment of awakening, because now some of these victims' families
have the closure.
Right, and they finally know and have that closure that they need. Because he actually said, like, word for word, what happened. He explained what happened to all these victims.
Wow.
They weren't getting that before. From the grave, Shirley ignited the strongest, most emotional response from jurors in any courtroom. The prosecutor played the tape recording where you can clearly hear the amount of terror Shirley endured before death. The recording went on for 17 grueling minutes.
Ooh,
God, I would have left. I couldn't handle it.
There is a transcript of this recording available to the public. This sweet, beautiful girl endured such shivering pain at the hands of two pure, evil individuals. Investigators were able to find the remains of Jacqueline Leah Lamp and Jackie Doris Gilliam in the San Gabriel Mountains. The bodies of Lucinda Schaefer and Andrea Hall remain undiscovered to this day.
That sucks.
That's horrible.
I know, they never found it.
They never got a final resting spot. That's horrible.
I don't know if the animals took them, I don't know.
Like they wanted.
Right. As for Bittaker, an initial execution date was set for December 29th, 1989, which Bittaker appealed.
Oh,
you should have denied him.
The U.S. Supreme Court upheld the decision and set a new date of execution for July 23rd, 1991. And again, Bittaker appealed. Only this time, on July 9th, 1991, the court granted a stay. So Lawrence Bittaker died of natural causes on Friday, December 13th, 2019, at San Quentin State Prison.
So we got, an extra 12 years of life when he shouldn't have?
Why did they fucking appeal
So he didn't get the death penalty.
And he was supposed to get it in 1991, you said, right?
Originally...
The first time, 89?
It was set for 1989.
And
that was
appealed. He didn't die until 2012.
Then 1991 appealed again. And then in 1991, July. So
he appealed it because he was sick? Or why did he appeal it?
I don't know.
He probably just appealed it because he didn't want to die.
Well, fuck him. He deserves to die.
I agree. But then he got to look how many years he got to live out.
He got 12 years after that.
Yeah, he was supposed to die in 89, and look at that.
So I
don't know. He died a few years ago, 2019, you said, right?
He probably got life in prison, I'd imagine. I didn't write that in here. I don't know why I didn't.
I'm sure he got life in prison.
2019. And he was supposed to die in 89. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure he got life in prison.
Yeah, I'm sure too. Okay,
Let's look at this. That's our entire lifetime. If he didn't die until 2019, he was supposed to die before we were even born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look at all this time that he lived.
Yeah, he
I
lived
can't believe
time.
they were like, man, let's he's appealing it. Let's consider it. Like, no, fuck that shit, dude.
He must have had a good lawyer.
Look at my case where that guy died.
Yeah, right?
Where the hell was the court for that?
Right. For real.
But they let this asshole live.
Yeah.
And then as for Norris, the parole board denied Norris's request for release in 2009. And he had served his full 45 sentence back in 2019.
So he's out.
So he was out. He did die of natural causes on February 24th, 2020.
Which is recent still.
It's so fucked up that both of them were able to die with natural causes for the fucked up shit they did and killing people the way they did. That was not natural at all.
I agree.
But they got to live out their life.
And granted, this guy died 4 years ago.
Yeah,
That's it.
I mean, granted, they were in prison for their whole lives, but still, like, it's not right for the fate of them to die of natural causes for the shit that they did. Nope. Like, it should have just been, like, an execution. Like, there should be no appeals for it. They should never cut a deal with the dude. Like, you know what you did. You made your bed, now fucking lie in it.
I agree.
And imagine how the families felt to the girls that died.
Oh, dude.
Seeing these assholes get out.
I'm surprised.
Pissed. I'd be so mad.
I'm surprised that one of the family members found out they were out and they go fucking kill him.
That's what I would have.
Have you heard of that case? This was sometime in the late 80s or 90s where a guy...
You're talking about the guy that killed his son's killer?
Yeah, dude, that shit was awesome. Yes, I'm fucking... Have you heard about this, sweetie?
I haven't.
Okay, so this dude killed a child and they were transferring him from the court to prison, and they were walking through like an airport or they were walking through some public place, and the dad of the son was standing next to his payphones were popular back then, so they used to have like areas that had like 6 payphones, and he was standing there pretending he was on the phone with someone when they walked by with a dude handcuffed, and he hung up the phone, turned around, went up to him behind him and pointed a gun at his head and blew his fucking head off.
On live
TV.
Go to jail too?
Well, yeah. Oh, he did it?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I thought like they arrested him and stuff, but they didn't charge him with anything.
Yeah, I don't know the charges or anything. But it's
we should cover this. I don't know for sure. I thought for sure he didn't go to jail.
But it's like, fuck yeah, dude. That dude's my fucking hero. Like, hell yeah, that is some awesome shit to me. It's like, dude, yeah, fuck yeah, he doesn't deserve to live. He deserves to get his fucking head blown off.
When was this?
80s or 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it was that long ago and I don't know about it. Okay.
Yeah, dude, I just looked the fact that it was just like, yes, fucking redemption. Like, definitely. That is well deserved in cases like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what the dude did to his son, but he killed him. I don't know.
I believe the boy was raped too.
Oh, okay. Well, hell yeah. Then he, definitely deserved it. But, it was on live TV and everything. I was like, dude, that's crazy. That is fucking awesome. Good for that dad.
Yeah, that's a good dad. All right, so anything else? Any final thoughts before we let these people hopefully enjoy the rest of their day, get some candy for their kiddos?
Yeah, Halloween. Enjoy Halloween for sure.
Anything else you want to throw
This is just wild to me. I'm bamboozled at the fact that these guys, I feel like they did all these horrible things, and I feel like they got a slap on the wrist at the end of it.
I agree with you on that.
I agree. And I feel like they don't take rape as seriously as they should.
No, I agree.
And I don't know if they ever will.
Nowadays, I feel like it's more...
I still think it's kind of...
It's a hit or a miss, I think.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess it depends on the state you're on.
I just don't think they care. Yeah. I mean, they care more now, but I still think it's not enough. Personally, but...
Yeah. I think it's crazy how nowadays you can get charged with a drug charge and spend so many years in jails for it.
And you can spend more time than a sexual offender.
But then the sexual offender that you get, like... less time. It's just like, that's what we're fucking worried about.
And neither one of these men should have ever been qualified for good behavioral
No, I
agree.
No.
That I don't understand what the hell they were thinking.
They should have served their entire time in solitary confinement.
Yes. Absolutely.
No contact with anyone, an hour outside a day, no privileges.
Nope.
You get a fucking cell to sit in, you never get to leave, and you get, like, fed through a fucking hole in the door. Like,
no, they should have got fed through a fucking straw.
Yeah.
Through someone's butt.
Through someone's butt.
Yeah, human centipede them right now.
They deserve it. Seriously.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
All I can say is just stay safe this Halloween. Obviously, luckily, all of those people are dead now, so...
Yeah. Check your candy. Check your kids' candy.
Yeah.
You can't ever be too safe because some sick fucks out there.
Yep.
All right. But, so this Halloween... Did you want to say something real quick?
No, I was just saying, just have fun on Halloween, man.
Yeah.
Halloween's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to be having fun ourselves.
Yeah.
But this Halloween, let's collectively take a moment to remember these gorgeous girls who died much too young, as well as your guys' victims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just remember them. And let's all hug our children a little tighter than usual tonight. We hope you all enjoyed our Halloween special. Please come back and listen next week when we talk about the dating game killer, Rodney Alcala. This guy, too, is sickening. But that's the end of this one. Creep it real, ghoulies. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.